What's up guys, Surfing Twick here, back with another Destiny 2 video. Today's video is going to be a Warlock solar build, basically the one that everybody probably ended up using for the contest mode to defeat Netherract. Of course, this build revolves around Starfire Protocol and fusion grenades, also a demo rocket, and then actually being able to be used properly in a build, Witherhoard. I usually slap on Witherhoard for anything, but right now Witherhoard is actually good in this build. Of course, as always, the dim link will be down in the description below, and if this helps you out, be sure to leave a like. It helps me out tons. And let's get straight into the build. Now, of course, we're going to be on the solar subclass, and my super, obviously, going to be Well of Radiance. From Well of Radiance, you're going to be able to get Scorch, Ignition, Restoration, Radiant. This is probably this is obviously the best super in the game. I'm sad that I'm not a Warlock main, but it is what it is. For the class ability, I chose to use Empowering Rift, only because Empowering Rifts got me my grenades back faster, which actually healed me faster than the Healing Rift. So that's why I'm recommending this. For the movement ability, I chose to use Burst Glide because I find it the easiest. The solar melee ability, we chose to use Celestial Fire, which is going to be able to get us Scorch and Ignition on our enemies. And then of course for the grenade, the whole freaking build is built around fusion grenades. Fusion grenades are doing massive damage, and I'm going to be able to heal off fusion grenades now. Yes, we're putting them on. Going on to the aspects, one of my friends says that he cannot play Warlock without Icarus Dash on, so we're using that. You're going to be able to dodge quickly while airborne, which is going to be pretty sweet as well. And then while you're airborne, when you rapidly defeat targets with your super or weapon, it grants Cure as well, which is going to be a pretty sweet way to heal if you need to. And then for the second aspect, it's going to be Touch of Flame, which your healing, solar, firebolt, and fusion grenades have enhanced functionality. Of course, for this one, we're going to be using fusion grenades, and fusion grenades are now going to be able to explode twice, as if they needed it anyways. Now, moving on to the fragments. The first one we're going to be using is going to be Ember of Char, which are solar ignitions, spread Scorch to affected targets, and you also get plus 10 discipline, which is going to be pretty solid with this, considering we're going to be throwing grenades most of the time. A new fragment to Season of Defiance, Ember of Resolve. Your solar grenade final blows cure you. When I throw a grenade and I kill somebody, it's gonna heal me. That's insane. Ember of Blistering, defeating targets with solar ignitions grants grenade energy, even faster way to get grenades back. And then lastly, Ember of Ashes. You apply more Scorch stacks to targets. So beefier targets like champions and bosses, you're gonna be able to apply more Scorch stacks to them, and they're gonna be able to take damage even faster. Just a quick reminder to like the video if it helps you out, and consider subscribing for more Destiny 2 content. Now, as always, we go on to the stats. The stats here are going to be the same as almost every freaking build. It's going to be high discipline, it's going to be high resilience. You're going to want to be able to survive in any endgame content with this build. Again, this is the build that I used to complete contest mode with, so this is what I ended up using. Of course, you're going to want high discipline to get your grenades back as fast as possible. And then from there, if I had to pick a third one, recovery. Very, very important, especially if you're using Cure and all these other healing aspects. You're going to be wanting to get recovery back as fast as possible. Now, going to the artifact mods, of course, if you're viewing this at a later season, the artifacts are going to change, but the build, however, should stay the same for most of it. The first one I chose to use was Shatter Orbs. The first time you break a combatant's shield, as long as it's matching the damage type, create an orb of power. And then from there, I chose to use Solar Surge. Collecting a fire sprite gives you an armor charge. And then after that, Prismatic Transfer. When you cast a super, each member of your fire team with a subclass damage type different than yours grants a bonus to weapon damage. So of course, if you're running 6 Warlocks Solar on Netherract, yeah, you're not going to get that bonus damage. But assuming everybody plays a little bit something differently down the line with in-game content, this is going to be a very nice boost in damage. Going on to the armor mods now, of course, we are starting with the head. I'm choosing to use 2 Assets to Assets mods, which gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. We're going to be tossing our grenades out as much as possible, so we're going to want Well of Radiance as much as possible. And then after that, I chose to use Special Ammo Finder, so that way, whenever I see a boss, I can shoot it with Witherhoard. It's going to be constantly taking damage, and I'm going to be able to throw grenades at it, and I'm going to be able to get my grenades back from that damage. But I guess if you wanted here, you could run a third Assets to Assets. Kind of just depends on what you're running. And then from there, moving down to the arms, we got Bolstering Detonation, which grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade, which is going to be pretty huge to get our Empowering Rift back. Firepower, which our grenade final blows create orbs of power. And then Impact Induction, causing damage with a melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown. So, for some reason, you are out of grenades, you can just melee the enemy in front of you, and then you're going to be able to get reduced grenade cooldown to get it back even faster. but something that I like doing is if I'm out of grenades, I just pop my Empowering Rift and shoot at enemies, and I get my grenades back pretty much immediately. Now moving on to the chest armor, this is where exotic piece comes in. Of course, we're using Starfire Protocol, which the armor perk here is going to be Fusion Harness. Fusion grenades have an additional charge and recharge from empowering weapon damage. Fusion grenades kills grant rift energy. So it's pretty much like a big circle here. You throw grenades, you run out of grenades, you pop an empowering rift, and then you shoot an enemy, and then you throw grenades, and then you get your rift back. It's incredibly easy. The mods I use here are going to be the resistance mods. Again, just like in my previous build, you can kind of choose whatever you want depending on what you're running. If you're running like Nezeract, like void resistance would be good because there's little void things that come at you are a pain in the ass. Maybe solar resistance because the guys with the miniguns also suck, but it just all depends on what you're running. But resistance mods are the way to go in my opinion. And then from there we go on to the leg armor. I chose to use one of the best mods in the game, Recuperation. It replenishes your health every time you pick up an Orb of Power, and every time you get a grenade kill with this build, we're getting an Orb of Power. Recuperation also doesn't have any effect on recovery because it automatically gives you that chunk of health. You don't have to wait for it to go all the way up. And then for this specific build that I'm using, which is kind of just based on boss damage, I chose to use a kinetic weapon surge, so that way I can get some bonus damage on my Wither Horde. And then the stasis weapon surge, which the rocket I'm using is stasis, so that's why I have this one on. And then now I'm on to the bond. The mods that I chose to use are going to be time dilation. Your decaying armor charge has longer duration. And then I use 2 bomber mods, reduces the grenade cooldown when using your class ability. So when I pop that rift, I should be getting grenades back super fast. It's a very, very nice snowball-y type of build. Really, with this setup, you should almost have grenades up all the time. Now going on to the weapons that I chose to use for this, and I will say these weapons are more orientated towards a boss damage type of thing. I will say this would be a pretty solid build in Grandmasters as well. But for the first weapon, of course, we're going with good old trusty Wither Horde. Wither Horde works really well here because you can pop your Well of Radiance, Wither Horde a boss in front of you. You're going to be able to throw grenades super duper constant. For my second weapon here, I chose to use the Catalyst Mini Tool, a solar submachine gun. The one I have on here is unrelenting and incandescent, so you're going to be able to pop enemies' heads when you're not having grenades, spread scorch to everybody, but also get heals from it as well. This is one of my personal favorite guns in the game. And then for the third weapon, my heavy slot, I'm choosing to use Bump in the Night. I have a demolition chill clip roll. Pretty much what everybody's doing here is going to be put down a Well of Radiance, hit the boss with a Wither Horde shot, shoot a rocket, throw a grenade, shoot a rocket, throw a grenade, shoot a rocket, throw a grenade. This is going to be a huge burst of DPS, so if you have really short DPS rounds, this is what I recommend using. The whole build pretty much has synergy for DPS or endgame content. This again is what I use in my second contest mode run. I'm sure everybody's tried this build out now, but these are the mods that I chose to use because I think they're the best. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you leave a like on the video. It helps me out tremendously. Consider subscribing. Stay tuned to the channel for more content, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.